Namaste. It's me, Gigi. I know it's been a long time, months, so welcome everybody. And most importantly, thank you for coming back and still checking in my videos. Today's video is going to be very special. It's going to be about relationship, and mostly it's about this current planet transition, okay? There's an important energy that's going to follow us until I would say the end of 2020, and that energy probably started last month. Okay, right now we are in May, so probably started at the beginning of April. So the main planet configuration I wanted to talk to you guys about is Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is currently in its own house, which is Sagittarius. Okay, and this transit happen once every 12 years. So Jupiter changes sign every year, okay, to go through the zodiac belt. And so it's a very important energy when Jupiter, the planet of expansion and philosophy and religion and higher learning and marriage and things of that nature, is in its own house. Because as much as Jupiter is what we call a benevolent planet, see, we say that Jupiter is a benevolent planet. We say Venus is a benevolent planet, and also Mercury. Okay, so when a benevolent planet comes back home in its own house, right, then everybody else benefit. So all the signs. However, with Jupiter in Sagittarius, Jupiter has a shadow side, okay? And in the next few days, and until I would say probably the end of, I would say August, there will be an untying of the knots, because Jupiter will conjunct at certain degree, and I'm looking at my notes, Saturn in Capricorn, and Saturn is very strong in Capricorn because Pluto also is in Capricorn. So all of those planets, especially Pluto, you know, it's ruled by Mars, you guys, so this very karmic energy, Scorpio, mysterious, hidden knowledge, represent the, you know, the other side of life. When we die, the things that we don't want other people to know. It does represent on certain degrees heavy burdens such as sickness, abuse. It does represent also regenerative powers, restoration of fate, health after misery. What else? It also is the sign of that represent power to renew themselves, to become better, to recycle our knowledge, our past knowledge, and bringing it to this current life and use it as a tool to give us the strength. That is Pluto. Pluto is very karmic. So, and then also Saturn, which is, you know, the karmic planet. You know, they say that Saturn is the one who will apply the karma. So it's a very karmic time. And so when Jupiter and Saturn will meet, especially now that they are both in retrograde motion, so they're very close to Earth, what's going to happen, it's going to untie some knots. And what I mean by knots is karmic knots. Example, if you're from a family where you have been going through a sickness, your grandmother has been sick, your mother went through the same condition, now you're coming out with some symptoms. Or let's say if you're coming from a family where, you know, all the women in your family has been divorced or has been left dispute or some type of issues that you carry on, that could also be untied. Or let's say you're coming from a family where nobody was able to finish their education, you could be on the tie that is karmic, that bonds you from this burden. You can be released from that. So we all get something that we could be released from. However, there is some behavior that has to be followed, some strict behavior. That will represent your standard of value, what you believe. Okay, strict belief, I said strict um, behavior pattern has to be observed in order to be released from this karmic bond. Okay, whatever that is in your situation. Okay, could be many, many things. Let's say for some reason in your family you have a history of, not being able to have, a second child. Everybody has one child, and you try and try, and then nobody has a second child. Maybe you will be the one who's going to have a second child. In any event, I hope I'm being clear and not confusing you guys with my example, but it's just to tell you that for those of you who feel somehow, some way that you are attached to a family burden, a karmic family burden, whether it's through addiction, through sickness, through some type of isolation and pain, well, now is the time that you can be released from that karmic bond. And to come back from the shadowy side I was mentioning earlier in that conversation about Jupiter. Jupiter is ruled Sagittarius, and the ancient astrology used to rule also Pisces. Okay, so Sagittarius is much more of a intellectual side of religion and belief, and it could be a little bit dogmatic, while Pisces is like a universal love, unconditional belief of connecting through emotion, and it's something very unconditional that is that covers everybody. Okay, where in Sagittarius that we see that there's a little bit of, how can I say, Sagittarius, a little bit of superficiality in their belief. Okay, and don't forget Sagittarius, Jupiter is represent institution, religious institution, religious belief also. So the dark side of Jupiter is what we don't see that is happening in the back, right? Because Jupiter wants to expand knowledge and be benevolent and be harmonious and all the benevolent quality, positive quality, and happy quality. That's what it wants to represent, right? It wants to be good. But now, in order to untie this karmic burden, we have to go back through our past history. We have to remove tradition. Okay, this really is a video where I want to say that yes, strict behavior pattern have to be observed when it comes to being honest. Not cheating, not lying, not being aggressive, violent, all of those things, okay? But also with that, the values of Jupiter is such a way where it's don't do this, don't do that, but there's another side of it, okay? And this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. It. So although this transit will bring you something, somehow, everybody's gonna gain something with this transit. Really is depending on where Jupiter is located in your chart. And guys, please go on astro.com, pull your chart. You have to do that, because if you message me, I don't know where my Jupiter is. You have to find out. All you need is your place, time of birth, okay, and location. That's all you need, and you will be able to find that information. It's important for you to know that where your Jupiter is located, because you'll be able to see where the gift will be applied. And the most important thing, you'll be able to confront also that blockage, okay? Because Jupiter being what we call in Vedic astrology, Gendenta, it's a critical degree. So in Western astrology right now, Jupiter is at 22 degrees, and Saturn is at 20 degrees. Okay, they're both retrograde. So Jupiter moves faster, okay, than Saturn. Okay, so there will be a conjunction. That's going to happen actually twice. It's going to happen also later on around November this year. So many things could have happened in your relationship. Hence why I'm here. Okay, some of you has been going through very, very difficult time. Okay, very, especially again, in terms of your relationship with your peer, especially Libra, Taurus, depending where your Venus is located. Okay, Gemini, very hard time for relationship. You have to know that, as I said at a moment ago, that it's not the time to observe tradition. Jupiter connect us, linked us, force us into tradition, sometimes against our own will or our own deep understanding. And again, Jupiter is a planet that rules Sagittarius, and it represents higher learning, higher education, photography. It does represent media on some level, publishing, also marriage, law, education. I've said it earlier. It does represent a lot of good, positive things, but it represents some negative things also. Okay, and currently there's this. I wouldn't say debilitation because it's not debilitated, but there's this influence of Venus that is really in a weak position. Venus is currently in Aries, okay? And it received the aspect of Jupiter. See, the reason why I want to talk about astrology more with you guys, there's so many things to talk about. Aspect, which is something that we go deeper in Vedic astrology, not so much in Western astrology, but I will absolutely go in details, ask away all your questions, and I'll be able to answer them. So I was saying that Venus is in detriment in Aries, and Venus is currently in Aries, okay? And it's almost conjuncting Mars in Gemini, okay? So by degrees, so it's 26 degrees in Venus and 27 in 27 Mars. Okay, they are in different houses. Venus is in Aries, Mars is in Gemini. Okay, so it's like this, you know, it's a trine. Okay, so it's a very important energy, which means that there is some underlying relationship that are taking place. Okay, very close to your house. Okay, it could be in your neighborhood. It could be, you know, in your school, your local this, your place of living. It could be in different areas of life, okay? And when Venus is in Aries, she goes forward. She wants to tell everybody what she wants. Is the opposite of Libra, where Libra is balance. Libra's gonna say, well, you know, I'm not gonna go too quick, I'm not gonna go too fast. But Venus is in a hurry, and in Aries, she's very physical. So she's very into the physical, sexual energy. And her being in a weak position, because Venus in Aries is in a weak position, she could be, there's a possibility of being somehow used or abused, okay? Okay, and I say this because Jupiter give 3 aspects, okay? Depending where your Jupiter is located, it gives 3 aspects, okay? So the first aspect Jupiter give is the 5th house, okay? So right now Jupiter is in Sagittarius, 5th house away from Sagittarius is Aries, okay? So if you have a planet in Aries in your birth chart, you get the most beneficial Jupiter aspect on your planet, which could mean many things. It could mean that you could be making a lot of money, you could be looking good, you could be attracting a lot of people, you could be making deals, arrangements. So all of that depends on your birth chart. But to go back to Venus and the transit of Venus and the position that she's into right now, and of course the connection with Jupiter, is that she's being actually squared by Saturn. Okay, Saturn is in Capricorn and Pluto's in Capricorn, so that Venus is receiving a tough aspect of karma in Capricorn, okay? So that karma could come out differently, okay? It's because that will be the last time this Venus will be in detriment through the whole year. So for those of you who've been having problems, maybe you realized the problem only maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago, but this issue has been going on since December 2018, okay? Because of just Jupiter aspect. But I'm not gonna make a too long video. I really wanna make sure this video upload. I'm gonna try to make number 2 soon and ask all the questions, you guys, and the video will be coming. I love you.